I then got another board came in. I was like, oh, like I've just made one, another one's come in, pitched, got that one. And then whilst I was doing that one, another board came in for me. And I was like, oh, like, this is really a really rapid industry.
Action!
When after university, I didn't know, I was like, I've got to make something, because it's been like 6 months or out of uni and I hadn't shot anything. And I had this like flash of fear, like, am I just another statistic that went to film school and didn't actually end up being able to do it? Or so I was like, right, I've got to make something. And I thought, oh, if I do a music video, more people will see it. That was the reason I thought I'd make a video. So if I make a short film, you know, I've got no audience, maybe some people will see it, but just sort of really starting at the bottom. So and through doing music videos, then I discovered the world of music videos by making some, and then, the world of production companies. Oh, there's production companies and there's directors signed to production companies. I had no idea. None of this was mentioned.
Taught to you at film school, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, and they do ads. And I was like, oh, you know, that's what Fincher did, you know, it's music videos, then
he was one of your biggest influences, was he?
Yeah, I mean, it's like for all of us, right? It's like just
there's something
major,
you said.
There's various directors there's a lot of directors I'm just in awe of. Fincher's one of them, you know, like the language he's developed with. And that path was really interesting, you know, Glazer as well, and like a bunch of, we can list goes on of directors who did music videos, commercials, films. So that was, and then when I got the first commercial I got, I then got another board came in. I was like, oh, like I've just made one, another one's come in, pitched, got that one. And then whilst I was doing that one, another board came in for me. And I was like, oh, like, this is really a really rapid industry.
This is through Anorak, was it?
Yes, Anorak, German commercials through Anorak. And I was like, this is quite a rapid thing. And I was like, they come in and I pitch and then they shoot like 3 weeks later. So I then calculated in my head that if I kept this pace, having just made one and was on to my second one, and was about to do the third, I was like, that's 3 already. And if you go on a production company website, some of these, you know, the directors I was looking up to at the time, they might have like 6 commercials on the website, 7. They've done a ton more, but the profile is essentially in the present moment of you looking at a director is kind of, it's made up of the historical portfolio, but it's also in the moment of seeing the works that they've done at the time. So I just thought, well, if I just go if I go pretty full on with this, I felt I could hit the top tier quite like within sort of 3 years, and then bow out to do my film, because film has always been the thing,
right?
But I was also really I was quite conscious of seeing other directors I'd known or heard of kind of do a few ads, leave, film didn't happen, then they kind of can't go back to ads, and then their profile diminishes, and it's so precarious. That the thing I really wanted to do is get financially secure and solidify my profile as much as I could in commercials, so that I could then just not do them and go off and do my films. And then if the film fails, I can go back to doing commercials, build back up again, go back to long form takes such a long time that I love commercials. I love it. Like, it means I can finance my own projects as well and everything like that. So yeah, that was kind of there was a conscious effort to go pretty full on.
What I find interesting about that is it's because your desire was to end up doing long form, you dedicated yourself to commercials in a way, and you had that militant kind of approach for commercials where you wanted to get that body of work established, like you say, and you went for it so kind of like passionately to get to film, that you ended up kind of like pushing commercials forward in a way that I think if you just wanted to be a commercials director, you might have not done that. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of ironic that to get to the next stage, you ended up establishing it so well.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I haven't thought about that before. I was viewing them as with total respect, but also just trying not to compromise, and just like doing, well, if I do this commercial, this is how I do it. Like, and then push it. But then it was worked with amazing creatives who were like really I was shocked going into commercials for music video and having more trust in many respects in the ad world from agencies and creatives than in music videos. Sometimes with certain projects or hearing stories and stuff. Obviously there's loads of freedom in music videos, you can do really wild stuff, but in terms of process and protection, I had quite a good experience with that.
But that's because I think that is because you establish yourself so well in music videos, and all the tropes that you're interested, that we're going to hopefully break down a little bit more later in this conversation, about how you sort of see the world and the things you're interested in exploring photographically and in terms of sort of the ideas. You established that body of work in music videos, so there was a definite kind of Ian Pons Jewell approach, and then that got sold into commercials by like some people that really saw that in you and thought, well, this can be applied to commercials. Had you not had that long period, 7-year period of music videos, I don't know if that would have actually happened. Maybe you would have got swallowed up into the commercials kind of conservatism. And you might not have had the chance for people to really see what you could offer, and then use that as a way to sell your style to a commercial. Because that's what I think so interesting, is that you kind of change commercials in a way, like the way sort of people like Frank Bojan, you mentioned Jonathan Glazer and Tony Kaye for sure. Certain figures that come along, and through their pure kind of vision and tenacity, they sort of change the language a little bit. And I think that's kind of that's what you've sort of done, and you're sort of like a modern version of that. And I think that's down to the stint in music videos and the fact you've created a signature style. I think that if without because I'd almost given up as well on trying to get a commercial, and that I'd done so many music videos, you end up, there's no question of who you are when you go into the ad space, for sure. I think having the more of that you can have when you go into it, the better. I wouldn't say it's good to turn down a commercial opportunity if you get it early on, but there's massive benefits of building what you are before you go into it, because ultimately a commercial it's a compromised space already. So if you're going in with your uncompromised armor or self into that space, that you're getting brought into it for the uncompromised version of you as much as they can get from that before you go into it. So I think that is a good point. I mean, there's so many bad commercials made in terms of, just like the ideas. That's unfair actually. Commercials that are just there to sell a product, but to not necessarily, they don't need to do it with style. They can just do it in a functional way. But the scripts that you got quite early on were all very visual scripts that demanded that treatment, which, having worked with other directors in the past, sometimes they have to fight off these things that just kind of get offered to them and they're completely not right for them, but they're kind of money, and it's really hard to sort of turn that money down. I remember you saying once in one of the podcasts I listened to how important it is to stay time rich, and to sort of find a way to support yourself so you can wait for the correct opportunities to come along to develop.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and talking about the path of video commercial film, I don't even recommend, everyone should do videos and then commercials and then film, because if you've got the mental state and ability to just be doing film, amazing. There's there's loads of benefits from doing commercials and then doing film. There's a lot of benefits from the videos, then the commercials. It's just like my personal path that I did. But if you can just go and make film, incredible. I think now what's interesting is filmmakers who then can go and do a commercial now and then, because if you between two films, 4 years might pass that you're not on set. Something we've been talking to with a friend who's a features director, you know. And if you don't do, so what do you shoot between the two films as well? So yeah, and then in terms of like, the bad commercial, it's viewing it as the opportunity might just be financial. That bad commercial might pay for your rent for a year, might completely ease off all financial stresses you have to allow you to then focus on the script you're doing, or if you're DP, you know, shooting very low paid, whatever. So it's about viewing the project you're doing, I think, with the right, for what it is. It might just be a money thing, so then it is. But, you know, there's always some space, even in a bad commercial, to get something from it, I think, aside from money. It could be, just blocking, you know, you get blocking experience, you get experience of talking with a team that you might not see eye to eye with creatively. So then you're gaining like persuasion tactics and human understanding of so, but it's
interesting. There's always something to be gained. It's like the dry stone wall philosophy of, you always use the stone that's in your hand, because if you hunt around for the perfect stone, you're there forever, whereas there's always a place for that stone sort of thing. So you always sort of use what's around you, which is kind of like, when I look at your career, you've done a lot of that. It's like kind of going to, you know, traveling to Bolivia, for example, and finding opportunities there, and finding, you know, and building your team as you go.